This is the plaintiff, Audrey Chang. She says she parked in a parking lot and the defendant hit her and then left the scene. She got his information from the cops, and when she asked him to pay for her damages, he refused and said she was parked over the line, so it was her fault. Huh? She's suing for $195.65. The amount she's out for the accident. This is the defendant, Sean. He says he did dent the plaintiff's car, and then he called the police to report it. The plaintiff, however, was parked over the line. She went through her insurance, which paid her claim, and he owes nothing because she was the one who was negligent. He's accused of running out of space.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant lost his temper while parking his car, and he intentionally sideswiped her car, which sounds almost criminal if true. The defendant says that the plaintiff was illegally parked over the line and accidentally scraped her car. It's the case of tight squeeze.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Chang, what happened?
That was the early morning. I went to Summit to take a course, and I parked in a designated parking lot, and I went to the class. Later on, I got a call from the police, telling me, identify it was my car, and to tell me that my car got hit. Summoned me to the parking lot. So I made the police hit.
And then was the defendant still there, or the defendant had left?
He was not there.
So you go down, and how bad was the damage?
The damage, my insurance paid out the repair altogether about $3,000.
Wow. Ooh, yeah. That's the whole side of the car. That's like you kept driving and weren't sure how to disconnect, Mr. Sean. Like I'm wondering, you tell me, how did this accident happen?
The spaces in the lot are ridiculously tight, and I hit her car. I called the police.
But I mean, you hit her car, but good, like all the whole side. So it kind of means that you kept driving after the hit and continued to scratch it. Did you panic or something? Or what were you trying to straighten
No,
it? Because it wasn't like you made contact and stopped. It's like you made contact and then kept going. What kind of car were you driving?
I drive a Ford Edge.
Is that a car or a truck? I have no idea.
It's an SUV.
You're trying to squeeze your SUV. I think you were trying to squeeze about 10 pounds into a 5-pound bag.
It was very tight. That said...
So then and I presume that her car was parked, right? She wasn't driving it?
Her car was parked.
Okay. And your insurance company paid the $3,000 for her damages?
Correct.
Now, first of all, this has thrown me for a loop. You actually went through your own insurance, Ms. Chang, right?
Correct.
And then you paid your deductible, but his insurance was legit. Why didn't you just go through his, and then you wouldn't have to pay the deductible and seek it later and everything else? That's always the better way to do it, is to go through his insurance.
Because in the beginning, I did contact this insurance company. That company was intimidating. He tried to blame me on, the accident as my fault. That's the reason why I went to my insurance, asked them to, to do the claim for me. Since,
that's fine.
Okay. So that's what happened.
And then your insurance company went ahead and either sued or subrogate. They took your claim against his insurance company, and they said, hey, this is your client's fault. You need to pay up. And apparently the insurance company did pay you his insurance company paid you back $475 of the $500 deductible. Is that correct?
Correct.
Why?
Yes.
Why? What bureaucrat at your insurance company, what are they thinking? Just $25? They needed to anger her over $25 of her deductible. So you're suing for that $25 because you don't feel it's your fault, and you're also suing for a car rental. And Mr. Sean, tell me why it is that I shouldn't order you to pay that.
I got a letter asking not for the car rental, but for the insurance for the car rental. That's what it states on the letter that I received September 7th.
So here is
Friday,
a
May 9th.
September 7th letter, but that seems to be directly from her to you.
Correct.
Hope
And that's
you
where
and
it
your
says
loved are doing well
insurance.
in this crazy blah, blah, blah. I'm writing for your help on the balance. When you hit my parked car, it says balance of deductible, insurance for car rental. Yeah, that's not, I don't know why you would have said that, because I'm looking at the bill, it's the actual car rental. $16 a day. It couldn't have been more reasonable. And then your response is, I have enclosed photographs showing your car was clearly parked over the parking line, not allowing enough space for me to park the vehicle.
Yeah, that was,
I will not be submitting payment. Well. So
was,
it's her parked car's fault for being.
No, it is there.
Is this what
There
you
was an
mean, that her
agreement
car was
made.
parked a little bit over the stripe?
It's over it, and it's a tight squeeze. Those spaces were like.
Yes, it is a tight squeeze. That's why you shouldn't be
They-
parking there. You're going to need to drive further and walk. It's really healthy for you. Tell me how her tires being a slight bit over the stripe, and this is an unusual stripe because instead of being a stripe, there's a buffer zone. It's an actual U-shape. So your car to hit her had to be over the stripe, and you're the one in your car with eyeballs that work, right?
It
This
was
is
a
the hill you
really
want to
tight
die on?
squeeze.
$25 and the car rental? I mean,
No,
you
it's
know.
not about the $25. It was, I submitted this to my insurance. The insurance company negotiated that I was 95% at fault. And when this accident happened, I contacted the plaintiff and I said, do you want to handle this through insurance or not through insurance? And she said insurance. So I just said, okay, then let insurance handle it. You know?
And that's fine. But I am not bound by what insurance handled. People, in other words, if your insurance company unless she signed something with your insurance company, which she didn't, because she went through her own insurance company, she is entitled to, because that's how you resolve something with insurance companies. If you want the check, then sign here that we're settling, and then there's no court ever after that. But that's not what happened. She went through her own insurance company. She's out $195.65, and she's come to me to prove to me that the accident's your fault and you should have to pay for it. I do not find you 95% responsible. I find you 100% responsible. I see that her tire's on the stripe. I have eyeballs. I see that. But you have no business trying to get an SUV into a tight squeeze that ends up causing that amount of damage all the way through the side of the car. And by the way, in order for you to damage the side of her car, you had to be well over the stripe that you're complaining she was over. I am finding in the plaintiff's favor in the amount of the $195.65. Now, Mr. Sean, there's a reason you pay insurance premiums, and that's so that you don't have to pay anything. So you submit that to your insurance company, and you tell them the judge didn't agree with them. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Well, the judge finds for the plaintiff she will get her $195 back. Sean, the defendant in this case. Sean, I have a question to ask you. You know, a lot of people in this situation would not have reported that to the police. They would have just gone on their merry way, backed out, and left. Did you ever think twice about that?
No. My intention was to, I hit her car and I wanted to be responsible about it.
Well, good for you. Congratulations. A lot of people would not have done that. Anyway, it's going to cost you $195, so that's what you get, okay? All right, Ms. Chang, let me just ask you a question. Obviously, you were surprised when the cops called you, but you decided to bring it to court for $195. You glad you did that?
Yes, I sure did. Yes. Because it is, you know, the money shouldn't be out of my pocket. So thank you. I think that's really justice is served.
Very good for you. Justice is served. Okay.
When I pull into a parking lot and the spaces are super narrow, instead of trying to shoehorn my car or my truck, whatever it is, into the space, I just keep driving, as you know, and I'll park like a couple blocks
Well, you'll do that
away.
even if there are parking spaces that are sufficient because you don't want anybody touching your car.
Yeah, that might be true, but you know, I'd rather walk in the rain than have to try to shove my car into something like that. You can't even get your door open when you're in those really tight ones.
I mean, he's clearly in the wrong. And you know, it's funny because Doug mentioned in the hall that, you know, did you ever think about leaving? And the defendant is a decent man, and in my head, you know, I don't I don't really give brownie points for doing what you're supposed to do, but Doug's right. Like, there's a lot of terrible people in the world who would have left. But that's not even up for discussion because he would never do that.
Here's the thing, though. It was kind of odd that he chose that hill to die on.
I know, considering all this.
$195 after all he's been through. Had
his insurance rates probably went up because,
Right, but clearly compensable, and she wasn't encroaching into the space next to her.
She wasn't.
She was just a teeny
And if she is, don't park there.
Barry wants to know this. Hey, Harvey, look at this picture I found on the internet. Did Judge Wapner really sell root beer? He did not sell root beer, but we actually did this when he got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So good luck finding it, though. See you next time.